Alright, everybody, welcome back. So, we're gonna do a little bit different tonight. Yeah, so we're gonna go over kind of like my wish list that I have right now in early 2025. So, we got a new build that's coming up next week, and I figured this is like a good time to go over the list of things that I want to see on my racing. And, there's a lot to go over, so I decided to break it down to like the road racing category for tonight, and then I'll go over the over racing category another day. But for now, we're gonna focus on road racing content that I want to see on my racing with the Formula cars or the sport cars. So right now, iRacing had really grown into a pretty big business. I remember when I started out, they were bragging about having over 120 cars, and that number's now up to 160 cars. So there's a lot of cars to pick out from. So right now, we got like a bunch of NASCAR and stock cars. So we're gonna skip over that for now. So we got all these sport cars now. We got the shipper cars that just came out. We got a bunch of GG3 cars. We also got the prototypes, which I believe it's later down there. Yeah, there we are. We got the prototypes, and it seems like they're really planning on expanding that category in the near future if they're separating this group of cars already, even though they had started to build up the GGP class over the last 2 years, and we're up to 5 of them now. And we also got the new LMP3 from last year. Now our LMP2 is becoming a little bit outdated, but it's still, people are still running, that type of core in real world that is not super outdated yet. So we'll need to update the LMP2 yet. And yeah, you got the rest of it, which are more of a classic cars, and also a couple of the original LMP ones from 10 years ago. That was like super fast. I never bought it, but I heard it was super fast. And then we got the Formula cars, and that really been building up the Formula cars over the last couple years. We now have the Super Formula. We also have the Super Formula Lights, which was the last new Formula car that we got in iRacing. We got the W13, W12, two pieces, and we got the fictional IR1. And then we got like a bunch of different generation of Indy cars. We got the Indy cars from, 2018. We got the last generation Indy car, which was the DW12. And we also got the IR05 from 2009 M cars. That is what we're going to focus on for today. But there are more cars on the list all the way down there. So we're gonna start out by listing the cars that I want to see in the game over about the next couple years. Hopefully over the next couple years is the goal here. So number one, the car that I want to see on the list. So right now we only have 5 GG4 cars on iRacing, and I think we can always use more. So number one, like really high up on the list, not the top on my list right now, is this car. So Choya had released their new version of their Shibuya car, which is what they're calling the eFio 2, because it's like the second or third version of this car that came out. I think they came out with the original version, and then they came out with the eFio, and now they're coming out with the eFio 2 for this year. So this is brand new for 2025, and they ran this race at Daytona and won it. So this is a really fast race car right here, and I really want to see this, to be part of iRacing growing GT4 class, which it got the new BMW like a couple months ago. So I want to see iRacing keep building up the GT4 class, really popular. It get over 100 people signing up per race. So I think that's like a really good core to go after to start off. And then we got the Ford Mustang, also another new TG4 core that I believe came out last year when the Ford was really pushing out the new generation Mustang. And this is the Mustang Dark Horse, I believe. And they came out the TG4 version of this core, and it's also pretty popular in IMSA right now. So yeah, that's another core that I want to see next year, next couple years. And then we got the McLaren that came out with the new TG4 core, which I believe is the Argia. I can't pronounce it correctly, but it's Artura. So it looks pretty similar to what we have right now already, but it's updated version that all pretty much everybody's running in real world right now. So, and then we're gonna be moving on to another like category of cores, and we're gonna focus on like the spec series, like the single mate series, and we got two of them on my list right now. We got the Ford Mustang Challenge, that's part of IMSA right now, and they started out with this course last year, and I thought it looks pretty cool. And iRacing's all about single mate challenges, so I figured that would be a really cool core to have on iRacing. And then now there's rumors that are coming out. You're online, in the iRacing community, there are rumors coming out that this is the core that iRacing's working on with the Ferrari to bring on board. Because we know iRacing is working with Ferrari on something specific. It's to be announced. But some of us think they'll be bringing out this core to, the Ferrari Challenge core to iRacing. Now, right now, currently, the Ferrari Challenge on iRacing is not the same core as what they run in the real world right now. So that's why we think they're like bringing out the actual challenge core that they runs around the world to iRacing. And this is it right there. You can tell the difference with the ring here being a little bit more pointy, and you can tell a little bit difference with the front as well. There's like very little difference, but it's there. And then we got this stuff here that's going on back here. So there's like a little bit difference with the arrow. But yeah. And then I want to see a couple hypercores as well. Now that, they opened the can of worms by putting the Ferrari 499P on the board. Now I want to see more hypercores. And I'm a bit Choya fanboy, so I want to see the Choya hypercores on iRacing because they're like the fastest and the best team right now in the hypercore category. I don't know if they won the championship last year, but I believe they won it in 2023. I believe they won the first year they came out with the hypercore category with the FIA WEC. So now I would love to see that. And then we got the Lambo GGP core that they're running in both IMSA and the WEC. So this is quite pretty to look at. And I think it would be a popular core to drive from iRacing. But they're still currently a little bit slow in the real world and not really well built up program yet. I don't think they're still running the full schedule in IMSA yet. I could be wrong though, but I would love to see those. I would love to see this core. And then of course we're gonna move on to the Formula cores that I want to see on iRacing. So I want to see like next generation Formula core. And by 2026, so hopefully that's like the secret project they're working with the Ferrari. I could be wrong, but that would be a big project to do for iRacing is putting the next generation Formula Core, the Formula One Core next generation, which is the bottom here, and it looks a lot like IR01 that we have on iRacing. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then, of course, I will. This is becoming a little bit. I mean, I should be like, I don't think this was gonna happen, but now there's a small chance with the iRacing renewing their partnership with the IndyCar series, and that is the IndyCar Nets Core, which I believe is pretty old by now, like 10 years old. I believe they came out with this body in like 2015, and I believe it's IL-15, the model for this core from Delaria. So yeah, I'm still not sure they're gonna bring this core for a couple reasons. One, this core is pretty old. They're probably due for like the next generation, but IndyCar Nets race core. And two, so the USF 2000 and IndyCar Indy Pro 2000, I believe that's what it's also called. Or is it IndyCar 8? I don't know what's the exact name, but they released it like two IndyCar ladder cores like 5 years ago or so, and it wasn't very popular. It did not sell very well, and that probably scared iRacing from bringing IndyCar Nets core to the server. So I don't think this is realistic at this point, but I would love to see it. Something right below the IndyCar that we have right now that can run on both road course and oval. And then this is also probably not realistic because I believe FIA had a deal with EA Sports. But I mean, iRacing also just signed a partnership with FIA, but I don't think they had the right to scan this core because EA Sports for their Formula 1 games. But I would love to see the F2 core in the game as well, in the server. But I don't think this is realistic here, which is a bummer. But I still want to bring it up. I want this core. I want to see this core. But right now, the closest thing we have is the Super Formula core. So we're going to have to work with it for now. And then that's probably it. That's probably it for the cores that I want to see in the sim. So we're going to move. Oh, I forgot one more. I'm so sorry about that. So I kind of know. So these are not very popular, but I love me some Leggy cores. I love throwback cores. I love to see older cores making their way to the sim. And right now, I think there's a pretty big gap between the Formula 1 core from 1970s and the Formula 1 core that we have from 2009. So we're missing like a core from the 80s and the 90s. And I think the late 80s would be pretty awesome to have on iRacing. So Laga 79's pretty popular. I mean, it's not really popular, but they have really good community right now. And they get like 4 races a week. And I think we can get something like this, bring the Formula 1 core from the late 80s. It'll be pretty popular. But that should be. Now we can move on to tracks. Sorry about that. So right now, this is freaking mind-blowing for me because I've been around for 5 years now, full-time. But I just started out in 2010. And back in 2010, there was only like 30 or 40 tracks to play with back in 2010. And then even 2020, it was up to like 100, 110 tracks. And now we're up to 140 plus tracks with 400 different layouts. It's mind-blowing to me that we have this many tracks now. And they're kind of like all over the world. So, I mean, this is a very impressive list of tracks. This is about when I started on iRacing, was when North Wilkesboro came out, Nashville, Mount Washington. Around then was when I first joined iRacing, and then that come out with a lot of new tracks toward the top. It's mind-blowing how many tracks we have now. So, like, congratulations to iRacing for getting this far. So, this is actually the map that I made for the community, like, a couple times now, and I've been updating this. I am truth to be told, this is a map that was about 6 months old, but I kind of photoshopped in a couple of dots because my GIS map is on my different laptop, and I'm kind of too lazy to update that version, so I just Photoshop it in a couple dots to update the map. But as you can see, I'm looking at the map here, see where we need to have tracks, and we do have a rail track that is coming to Mexico City. Otherwise, Mexico City would be on this list because we do have NASCAR. We do have NASCAR that's coming to this track really soon. So, like in a couple months, we're going to Mexico for NASCAR. And of course, it's also the Formula 1 track. So I think it will sell pretty well. And of course, we got Miami F1 track that is coming soon. Otherwise, it will be on the list as well. So I'm not counting those two tracks. And then we got 2 more European tracks that we know have been signed. We got Croft, Croft, that's coming out pretty soon. And then we got like another Spanish track that's coming up. Felinda I think is what you call the place. I can't really say the name very well, but it's like that big city to the south of Barcelona. So that is a track that's also coming out soon. And then we got a couple tracks in Australia that's coming out as well. We got the street course coming, and we got the Bend that's also coming. So we're kind of spanning a little bit in Australia as well. And then, of course, we got the New Zealand track that's also coming. Eventually, they scanned the track like 3 years ago, but they really hadn't gotten around to it. So that's unfortunate, but something I noticed about this map, though, is we're really missing the Middle East. We're missing the Eastern Asia outside Japan. We're missing a little bit of South America. So we're like missing, there's a lot of spots that we can be filling in with new tracks from what I've seen here, and especially the Middle East or some of the Formula 1 tracks that we're missing now. And I think, in my opinion, those are some great tracks to have. So, the big one, the very obvious one that we're missing is Bahrain and Formula 1, which is the Formula 1 track. But also, Hypercars runs here, GT3 cars runs here, Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula 4, they all run here as well. This is a really popular racetrack now. And Bahrain is a pretty big missing track, in my opinion, for iRacing. And it wouldn't shock me to see this track on iRacing in the next 5 years, just because it's a pretty well-known track now. But especially for the Formula 1 opener for most years. And then we do have the track that is near Dubai that we're really missing now, because this is the championship track. This is the final racetrack every year in the last 10 or 15 years. The final track of the season. And it's one of the most fancy tracks on the schedule, with the hotels, the grandstand, the blue teal, all that stuff. I mean, that's a really major track, and I have my iRacing, and there's many different layouts. They also run the F4 Regional at 3, at 2. They also run a 12 hours race here as well for the GT3. Now, I don't believe that WEC had come by here yet, but again, it's a pretty major track in the Middle East, and I think it's another track that wouldn't shock me to see on iRacing in the next decade. So now we're kind of going to Australia real quick. I know we had two or 3 more tracks coming to iRacing from this region, but I mean, it sounds like to me Sydney track is a pretty big missing track in the World Supercars. I believe this track is like the season opener track, and they run like several races here a year. So, and it's also a night track, which I believe is really missing on the road side. You know, we could use more tracks that they run at nighttime. And that kind of goes back to the Middle Eastern tracks, is we're missing nighttime tracks. So, those 3 are major nighttime tracks. And I think we could use them on iRacing. And of course, if there's one track from Africa that everybody can agree is this one in South Africa, which is Kyalambit. And it was a pretty known track for Formula 1 for a long time, going to the 80s, up to the 80s, and then I believe there's a protest in South Africa going to the 90s, so F1 kind of left there, kind of like what they get to Russia, and the protests were for pretty good reason. Very good reason why there were protests. So look at history books. But now I feel like the timing is finally right for Formula 1 to go back to South Africa. And this is obviously the most historical track in Africa, so it feels right to have it on iRacing. And of course, this track is in a couple other sim racing games, so there's really no excuse not to have it at this point. The only issue is, I believe, the track owners and organization are kind of like a little bit greedy. They ask for a lot of money up front for races to come here, or maybe the track to be scanned. I don't know, I could be wrong about that. And of course, there's a couple street courses that we're gonna need to have eventually. And the big one is the street course at Baku. Now I know I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's Macau. And that's like one of the most famous street courses in the world, and they host the special Formula 3 races, as well as GT3 races and touring car races. So very, very well known street course. It's very long, big corners. You're pretty much racing the track rather than racing each other here. And of course, and this is a little bit shocking to me, but iRacing still don't have the Go on the most famous Formula 1 track in the world, the most famous race, the most well-known race in the whole calendar. It's not iRacing, but they're not also on many simulators, so iRacing is hardly alone in not having this track. But I think they're getting better with the making street courses now. And I think time is finally right that they can scan this place. Montano is one of the most famous tracks in the world. Now, it probably wouldn't be the best racing track. It'll be pretty tight and narrow, and you're racing the track more than people. But still, I think it'll be cool to have a hot lapping. And of course, at this point, this is a pretty big missing piece to the Indy core on iRacing, and that's St. Pete in Florida, the season opener track. that they rammed here a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry, a couple days ago. I can't believe it. Feels like it's been weeks, but it's actually a couple days. But yeah, it's a street course that IndyCar opened up the scene in Florida, and it's a very pretty looking racetrack on TV. And I think it's a pretty big missing piece to the IndyCar on iRacing. But that's just my opinion. I think it'll be fun to have it. And of course, this is moving us toward wheel stick category now. But I would love to see Las Vegas on iRacing. You know, the Formula 1 track in Las Vegas. That'd be bad to have. But I don't think it's wheel stick because they would stay up the racetrack. They would have the racetrack up for a few days. And the calendar is very packed with events. And they had to open up the track to the public right after each race session, each practice, qualifying races. They had to open right back up to the public after a couple hours. So I don't think this is realistic because iRacing need like all night long to scan the track, and they had to open up the front stretch, the back stretches, down the strip to the public, or people gonna get mad. So again, not realistic, but would be cool to have. Yeah, I have some really strong opinions about IndyCar running at this track. But I don't think this is a good racetrack. But I'm also like, at NASCAR and IndyCar are racing at this place, then they should scan it. So I guess we should be scanning Thermal Club racetrack. But I mean, it's a private racetrack for rich people other than hosting one IndyCar race a year. So Liza has some pretty strong opinions about IndyCar running at this place. I think it's a little bit tone deaf, but that's just me. But again, some list because if IndyCar is running there, then we should have it. Now, this is another unrealistic track, but there's like this really cool looking, club racetrack in Japan that I've seen on YouTube a couple times, and again, it's unrealistic because it's a personal playground for the rich people, but I mean, you have to check this place out on YouTube. It's a really cool looking racetrack. You'll see people taking Porsche or Ferrari around this place. It's beautiful. The landscape's beautiful. So yeah, that's all I have for y'all. So yeah, that's my wish list for early 2025 for rare racing. And if y'all have like opinions, just let me know. I'm all ears here. But thank you very much for watching. It's not really something I usually do that often, so it will mean a lot to me at your, leave the messages. Let me know what you're thinking about this, what you want to see on my racing. So yeah, make sure you like the video, leave a comment, subscribe. I'll catch you all later. Have a good one.